All right, everybody, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. I'm your host. Damn, it feels good to be back here with you, and it feels good to be doing another version of Coffee with Tim Black, another episode of Coffee with Tim Black, I should say. And today, guys, my people on Periscope, my people on Twitch, all the people that are able to tune in today, I know it's sort of short notice. I'm going to have a great guest. I got a great guest here. I just want to make sure that you all can hear me. I know if you can hear me, you'll be able to hear my guest. Let me make sure that we're live on Facebook and that Facebook's okay. There we go. Looks good. Okay, Facebook's looking live. Periscope's in the house. All right, guys. I got a great guest today. It's a guest that I've had on the show before, whose campaign I strongly supported. We need to change. We still need change. And this man wants to bring it to us. He wants to tell us about developments in this campaign. My friend and yours, Stephen Jaffe. Hey, Stephen, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Tim, thank you. Good to be back. Appreciate it.
Man, it's good to have you back, Stephen, man. It's been a while, and you look good, man. You look like you've been taking care of yourself, sir.
Well, I'm trying. It's pretty tiring, but it's also very inspiring.
Yes, sir. I know exactly what you mean, man. I've been trying to keep up with this news cycle. It's been running me ragged, brother. We got shootings at the YouTube headquarters, and they're still on the Russia stuff, so it's just crazy, brother.
Yeah, the YouTube is not very far from where I'm sitting, so
Wow.
I'm aware of that.
Wow, man. Wow. And speaking of crazy things going on, Stephen, one of the reasons why I had to, reach out to you and try to get you back on the show is I've been hearing some stuff about your campaign, man, and that you were facing a lot of obstacles. Could you share with the audience what's been going on?
Well, all of this occurred in February. California Democratic Party has a rule which ought to be abolished, and that rule is part of its bylaws that says when an incumbent Democrat wants to run again for the same seat, that the party is going to, automatically endorse that incumbent, no matter how bad they may have performed or whether they stand for the values of the party or not. I think it's a terrible rule. I think people who want to run for office again ought to be required to stand on their record and defend their reason for wanting to be reelected, but the party doesn't feel that way. So the only way to overcome that by a challenger is if the challenger goes out and collects the signatures of 20% of the delegates in that district to remove the automatic endorsement. So here I am challenging Nancy Pelosi. The CDP, the California Democratic Party, gave me a list, said, here's the list of delegates. You need 20% of these. There were 108 people on that list. I went out and got enough 20% of the delegates, turned them in on time, waited a few days, and then I get a message from the party saying, sorry, you didn't make it. You didn't get enough. And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, we used a different list that had more names on it, and we didn't bother to give that list to you. So that's the short version of what happened. So I actually have gone to court and filed a lawsuit over that. What's really going on is that it's not only just in California, it's across the country. Tim Canova a couple of days ago quit the Democratic Party because of the same kind of stuff going on. They are seeking to throw any challengers of incumbents out. They don't want any progressive challengers of Democratic incumbents.
Man, so, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, Stephen. I can't believe that you said now automatically they will side with, they will endorse Nancy Pelosi in this case. What does that mean? That means that they're going to put resources behind Nancy? Not that she needs any help with that, but what does that really mean for people so they understand what that means?
It means a couple of things. It means things you're saying, money, resources. On the ballot, she will appear as endorsed by the California Democratic Party. There are some people, once they see that, that's all they need to see. So I'm fighting that right now, and we'll see what happens. It was too late for them to do anything about it for the primary, But I certainly am focused on the general election in November. I should talk about our crazy, what we call jungle primary rules. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
I'm not familiar with them, but I just want to comment on what you said about, for the people that vote blue, no matter who it is, as long as they're the name that they recognize and that the party endorsed. I think you said that's for some people. I think a lot of people who are just not informed, Stephen, they just go, oh, there she goes again. There she goes again. So I see the huge advantage it is. Not that they've done anything great. I mean, look at all the seats that Nancy Pelosi's lost in the last 10 years. And I know it's not all on her, but she is part of the leadership. I think it was like 100 seats in the last 10 years, 80 seats. I don't know. It was a crazy number. Maybe you know a little bit more about.
She's lost over 1,000 seats.
That's what it is.
Nationally. If you count the state legislatures, 1,000 seats. And she doesn't seem too concerned about that. All she wants to talk about is we're resisting. And you know what? Resisting is not enough. You've got to have a plan. You can't be just reactive. You've got to be proactive. You've got to have the right answers to give to the people about what you stand for, not what you don't stand for. So I think she's kind of enabling Trump, by the way.
I guess when you automatically get endorsed, what's the difference? I mean, I guess you can suck at your job or not help the team win, and it's okay because, hey, I'm already going to get the endorsement. But so go ahead, Stephen. What's this thing about the jungle that you were talking about?
It used to be, and in most states still is, every party conducts its own side-by-side primary. The Republicans, the Democrats, the Peace and Freedom, the Greens, they all have their own primary. And then the winners of each of those primaries, they go off against each other in the November election. California has a different rule. Everybody votes in the same primary regardless of party. So in a place like San Francisco, where it's overwhelmingly Democrat, all you got to do really to get into the final, the November general election, is to finish second. Because it's almost for sure going to be two Democrats, because it's hard to find a Republican in San Francisco. So my goal is to finish a strong second in our primary, and then it's just me and Nancy Pelosi in the general. All the other votes fall off. I think almost all of those are my votes. And then we got a real horse race in November.
I got you. So there's a strategy to it. And that will put you facing her and for the after the primary in the general into the primary.
Yes.
So
yes, that's correct.
So what's I don't know, man. What's been the movement on the ground, man? How are things going with your campaign? I know all the establishment tricks they're trying on you, but how are things going for you?
Things are feeling pretty good. I've got a whole string of OR chapter endorsements. I've been endorsed by the National Berniecrats, the Feel the Burn National Club. It's very hard to tell objectively. There are no polls out there to say here's where you are, but it feels good, and I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I am going to finish a strong second and give Ms. Pelosi. I'm ready to shock the world in November.
Right, absolutely, my brother, absolutely. Just so people have so they understand what you stand for, Stephen. Tell a couple of cornerstones of your campaign to the folks.
Sure. Let me plug my earphone back in. It just fell out.
No problem. I'll keep them hooked on the show. Look, guys. Oh, he's back already. I was going to do some magician tricks while Stephen.
So the main one, of course, is the one everybody's talking about. Is single payer Medicare for all. Nancy Pelosi, if you ask her, are you for single payer, you'll get a 5-minute gibberish word salad speech about how she used to be in favor of it. Maybe she'll be in favor of it again someday, but we're not ready for it now. What we got to do is preserve the ACA, and that's not good enough. My constituents, 70 to 80% of the constituents here in San Francisco want single payer Medicare for all now. They don't want some halfway version, some incremental version, some public option version, or some euphemism. They want it now. And she does not represent the the people she's elected to represent. San Francisco has no voice in Congress. It needs a voice. That's what I'm running for. I am for abolishing superdelegates. I'm for abolishing this silly automatic endorsement that we just spoke about. I never would have voted for this bloated $700 billion military budget. I'm against NSA spying against Americans. I want to decriminalize mental illness here in the United States. I want criminal justice reform. I want police shootings investigated. There's a whole, write down the whole list, and none of these things, Nancy Pelosi supports. She is really a middle of the road corporate establishment. And why does she do it? Because she takes millions of dollars from these corporate donors, and then she votes for her donors' interests. She doesn't vote for the wishes and values of her constituents.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, Stephen, about what her true agenda is and what really governs her governance. You know, I swear, man, when you mention Medicare for all and you add that figure in there, the amount of people, the percentage of people, you said 70% of people in San Francisco want Medicare for all. You would think that would be it. I mean, like, hey, she's not for the thing that most of us are for. Let's just go ahead and say thank you for all you've done, Nancy, but it's time for us to go ahead and pass the torch.
You know, she is constitutionally elected to represent the people in her district. Right. She forgets who elects her year after year after year. She forgets that. She thinks that she's some kind of national figure and represents the nation, and she does not. I don't want to be minority leader. I don't want to be Speaker of the House. I want to be the congressman from San Francisco. I want to represent the people in San Francisco, and they deserve a voice in Congress, and I'm here to give it to them.
Wow, that's strong. That's strong. And I think the people of San Francisco would like that type of talk if they could hear more of it. You know, if they could just get more information about someone that's actually talking about representing their needs and not the needs of being on the national stage and jumping in front of the cameras all the time. Take care of the people. That's what your job is. That's what you're sent to Washington to do. So Stephen's got a great platform, guys. Amazing platform. Abolish superdelegates, military. He would have never voted for that budget. NSA spying, decriminalize mental illness. Oh man, Stephen, could you talk for a couple minutes or so about the decriminalization of mental incapacity?
This is very personal to me. I have someone very close in my family who suffers from severe mental illness. So I've been fully immersed in this debate for 20 years now. And the truth is that nobody chooses to be mentally ill. Being mentally ill is not a crime, and yet the place that we have to put most of the people who are mentally ill in the U.S. are not hospital facilities. They're not medical facilities. They're in our jails and our prisons, and that is just obscene. That they belong in hospitals. They need to be treated not as criminals, but as people who are no different from people with cancer or heart disease or brain tumors. Nobody wants to be mentally ill. And yet the stigma is so great. And when somebody calls and there's a mentally ill person on the street that's muttering to themselves, who comes? Not an ambulance, the police. And where do police take people? They don't take them to, they take them to jails. And that's where they go. So we have to get a whole new view of how we take care of our mentally ill. Other countries are better at this than we are. And it's time for us to wake up and join the civilized world here and treat mentally ill people like decent human beings. It also has a large intersection with the homelessness issue that you hear talking about so much. It has a large intersection with the gun violence that we talk about so much. So it's a very, very big issue. And 1 in 10 people in the United States, either directly or because of a family member or friend, is affected by somebody with serious mental illness. So I think it's a very big deal.
Stephen, that's amazing. I think you definitely pointed out the issue. You know, I've been on tour with Lee Camp, and we've been going to various states across the country. And one part of I'm gonna give a little bit of one of his bits. He talks about how cops are expected to do all this stuff. Now we got some bad apples, but we also got some bad trees in the apple forest. But cops, as you pointed out, they get called to help a person with a mental issue. Like, we don't need people with guns to show up and help people who are impaired. That makes no sense at all. That's a recipe for disaster, as you pointed out. And do we talk about homelessness, how that plays into it? I don't know the figures on it, but I'm sure, and I've noticed that there are a large amount of people who are homeless, who are not getting any assistance. A lot of those are veterans. By the way, Stephen, as you know, I'm sure you know, and they're on the street, and it's like, okay, we respect you for your service, but we're not going to help you.
Yeah, and I think the estimates are somewhere between a third and half of the people who are chronically homeless are also suffering from some kind of mental illness. In the veterans' cases, it may be PTSD from their experience, or it just might be some other kind of
insolvency. Who knows, right?
And those people deserve better treatment. That's correct. When you bring up veterans, there is something else I'd like to bring up.
Sure, brother.
One of the most outrageous things that's happening now are that you don't have to be a citizen to serve in the military. And there are a number of immigrants who are here who serve in the military, and they get out. And some of those immigrants who have served in the military, are you ready for this? Have actually been deported. They've been deported after they serve in the military. That, am I allowed to swear here?
Yeah, you can, Steve.
That's just fucking crazy. That's crazy. So when I get elected, I want to introduce what I call the Veteran Citizenship Act. You serve in the military if you're an immigrant and you get out without any problems, man, you get your citizenship right on the spot. You've earned it. You've earned it. You don't need to do anything. There's a group of people down here in Tijuana, deported veterans, and they're sitting down there in Tijuana. They've already been deported. It's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Talk about a slap in the face. A slap that you serve the country and then we give you the boot. That's your reward for serving the country, putting your life on the line.
I agree. It's outrageous. It's got to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed right now.
It's horrific. I don't know. Gosh, some of the things that we do is just so shameful, Stephen. I don't know. I don't know where to go from that, man. That's just a horrible policy. You would think they would get a pass. You think they would at least put them on the pathway for citizenship and say, well, we're going to give them this amount of time to become citizens, if not instantly.
I think, man, they serve in the military. They put 2 years of their life, put their necks out on the line. I think you give them the citizenship when they walk out the door of their service. I think they should get it automatically.
Look, if you don't trust them and you don't want them in your country, maybe you shouldn't give them guns and teach them how to, I don't know.
You got it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you got it.
Hypocrites.
That's right. Don't let them put on the uniform and salute the flag. That's right.
Goodness gracious.
That's right. So
that is.
Yeah. The other thing I want to bring up is the climate and environment. Pelosi kind of holds herself out as a big climate repair. She refuses to ban fracking. Fracking is destroying our environment and poisoning our waters. She will not ban fracking. What the hell is that about?
It's about what you talked about earlier. It's about that donor money. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's some dollars flowing into the coffers, as it is. That's special interest money, right?
Yeah, it's like for-profit insurance companies, health insurance companies. They give her money and then she doesn't back single payer or Medicare for all because they've got $1 billion stake in making sure that Medicare for all never comes into existence, especially big pharma. They don't want the government to be able to negotiate pharmacy prices for its people. They want to charge 10 times what the people in Canada charge. So that's what that's about.
I tell you, man, it's one of the things I find so frustrating, Stephen, is they say, oh, Tim Black, you're not right that you don't support Democrats. So, I'm like, hey, it's not all Democrats I have a problem with. It's establishment Democrats who are paid off. Like those are, I judge people, not party. I vote people, not party. Policy, not party. So if someone like Nancy Pelosi, who doesn't stand for the issues, like most San Francisco residents, that they want, then we should be fighting against her. We have to, because she's taking the seat of someone like Stephen Jaffe, who would go in and do the bidding of the people. How is that hard to understand? I don't understand why people can't get that. It makes sense.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, and it's just a matter of me getting I've been walking around 2 years now, and I'm going to continue to be on the streets until the last day, get my name out there, and people like you are helping me do that, and I'll do the best I can. Slide into the general, and things are all going to change. We're going to shock the world in less than 2 months.
Well, man, you know what? I want to see Nancy Pelosi have to sit down and debate you. Because I know you will call her on her bullshit, Stephen. Just to have you, I do anything. I bring, we can definitely give you as much exposure as I can muster. Man, it would be so sweet, Stephen, to hear you ask her these questions, to bring up these issues.
You know what, Tim? Nancy Pelosi has not debated an opponent since 1980.
Let me
say that again.
Please.
Let me say that again. Nancy Pelosi has not debated an opponent. I mean, just think about that. Since 1987, she likes to ignore her opponents. So I'm going to make it, when I finish second in the primary, I'm going to make it very uncomfortable for her to refuse to debate. I'm going to make it, she's going to have to be ashamed and embarrassed. And someone is going to start asking her, why won't you debate Jaffe? Why won't you debate Jaffe? And there is no good answer. So she's going to be in a no-win situation. She'll be damned if she does and damned if she doesn't. And I'm going to take advantage of that.
I love it, man. That's amazing. Stephen, you have always been an excellent guest. You're always on fire, brother. And look, guys, for the record, I met Stephen in person, and we had an opportunity to talk. I put that video up on my YouTube. Stephen, tell people where to go to find out more about your campaign and help you shock the world.
My website is my last name, Jaffe, Jaffe, the number 4 and the word Congress.com. And there's a donation link there, and there's all the issues are there, and a couple of pictures of me. I'm not sure if my dog's on there or not, but that's the best place to go. I'm also on Facebook under the same name, Jaffe for Congress. I'm on Twitter. I think I'm on Instagram. I don't know where else I am, but I'm all over the place, and any of those will get you to where you need to go. We're in the home stretch. If anybody's feeling generous or wants to see me replace Pelosi, I could sure use any kind of support that you might be able, even the small ones. Sometimes people call me up, Tim, and say, I can't give you any money. I'm on disability. I'm on Social Security. And I tell them, send me $1. I said, doesn't matter whether you send me a lot of money. I said, make a statement, go on the record. And They do that. So I get a lot of $27 donations. I get a lot of $270 donations, $720 donations. I get some larger ones too, thank goodness. But the amount almost doesn't matter. What matters is people making a personal statement and going on the record.
Absolutely, my brother. You got the right spirit, and you're fighting for the right causes, man. Ladies and gentlemen, go to JaffeForCongress.com. Jaffe, the number 4, Congress.com. You'll find him on all these social media platforms. He's got good people working with him. Stephen, is there anything else before we ride out?
No, I just want to thank you again. It's been a year since we met, man. Next month will be a year already.
Right,
so
right.
It's a long haul.
It has been, brother.
So hopefully we'll be celebrating not too long.
You're damn right, man. I can't wait to come out to California, man, and pop some champagne with you. It'll be some cheap stuff. We can't afford the good stuff, but we'll have something. And
you got it.
And we'll share a laugh, man.
No plastic corks.
There you go. All right, now, guys, look, don't forget, go to JaffeForCongress.com. Stephen Jaffe, help him unseat Nancy Pelosi. She needs to go, and he's got the right values. Check out his platform. I stand by him. Go do it. All right, Stephen. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Tim.
You got it, man.